last year, history was made. We had the first race for Congress where there was an openly gay Republican running against an openly gay Democrat, and adding to that, the first openly gay Republican was elected to Congress last year, a fellow by the name of George Santos. And if you don't know about George Santos, let's talk about him. So, George Santos, on paper, has a great story to tell as a candidate. It's sympathetic. He has a journey that he's been on. He's overcome adversity. His grandparents fled Nazi Germany. His mom was tragically killed in the terror attacks on the World Trade Center on 9/11. Despite all of that, he managed to put himself through school, and he started his own company. He worked for some of the biggest financial institutions in the country. He also started an animal rescue charity because who doesn't love an animal rescue charity? Let's be honest. It's great. And he's also, adding to his bona fides, four of his employees were killed in the shooting at the Pulse nightclub in Florida. So he's been through a lot as a person, and he has a story to tell as a candidate. And that would be great, except for the fact that it's all a lie. Everything I just told you about George Santos is not true. And there's a lot more than I can get into in a 5-minute video here. And just one more thing I want to add. He's wanted for fraud in Brazil right now. Okay, so here's the thing for our Queerful community. George Santos, he's earned a place in history. He will go down in history as the first openly gay Republican that was elected to the House of Representatives. We can't change that. We can't erase him from history, even though he is a complete and total fraud. And the thing is, Republicans in Congress right now, they are welcoming him with open arms. Kevin McCarthy needed his vote to become Speaker. In fact, since this all came out, the Republican Party said, we're not going to do anything about this. We're not going to unseat him. We're not going to expel him from Congress. And he's actually been on a rehabilitation tour this past week, doing interviews and talking about what he's gone through and how he's earned this seat and how he's not going to step down from his role. And that might be good enough for the Republican Party, but we should expect more from our first gay Republican representative in Congress. And while they tout him as a step forward for the queer community, we can also reject him, because we're at a point where we don't have to vote for every gay candidate that's running for office. We can pick and choose. There are a lot of great gay candidates that are out there. I mean, he was running against a gentleman by the name of Robert Zimmerman, who has been involved with the Democratic National Committee for years. He has an excellent resume, and he rightfully should have won this seat if it weren't for George Santos. We also, in New York, lost two great gay candidates this past year, Sean Patrick Maloney and Mondaire Jones, both of whom represented New York for the last few years in Congress, and they were great. So this is not a good trade for our community. Okay. So I want to leave you with this. Last week, Elise Stefanik, she's a member of Republican leadership, and she said in an interview that this class of Republicans that are coming in this year, the 2022 or 2023 class of Republicans, is the most diverse Republican class in Congress ever. And George Santos is a big part of that. And they're very proud of this. I don't think we should be proud of this. In fact, I think that we need to call on leadership at all levels. And I will say, to their credit, in New York, the local Republican Party that got him elected has called for George Santos's resignation. Other members of the Republican caucus in Congress have called for his resignation. But leadership and members of the party are still supporting him because they have this narrow margin of control of Congress right now. And that's unacceptable. That if that's what it takes to win, having a liar in office is what you need to maintain power, then you're doing things for the wrong reason. So the great thing about all the progress that we've made is that there are a lot of candidates that are queer running for office. We've had, our first transgender state delegates elected in recent years. They're being appointed at all levels of government. We need to expect more from our candidates now. It's not enough to just vote for someone because they are a member of the queer community. We need to have people who are going to be out there, who are going to represent us with integrity, with honesty, and show true leadership. And so we have to get pickier about who we vote for, but we also need to hold accountable the people who are lifting him up, George Santos, up in Congress right now, and make sure they're held accountable as well.